Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the launch of the biggest portfolio in enterprise storage. Welcome to Dell Technologies, Power Your Future. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Namaskaram. How are we all doing this evening? All good? So far, so good? All right, I can promise you a fantastic event ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ghazal Watts. I am absolutely thrilled, excited to be a part of this fantastic, innovating evening. Ladies and gentlemen, where we are all set, super excited to launch some of the finest solutions in front of you all today. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and help me in welcoming on stage the Director and GM, South India and Startup Business, Dell Technologies India. Please give it up for Mr. Sudeep Goswami. Good evening.
Thank you. Hello and good evening to all of you. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies, to be here. It's my pleasure to open the session today and share with you or set the context of why we are doing this particular event. In 2019, India was the second fastest digitizing economy in the world. 2.5 years of COVID, we are the fastest digitizing economy in the world. Last week, I was in Gandhinagar with a Digital India Week that got celebrated by Ministry of IT, and that's where the government actually did a very nice effort of showing in last 8 years how have things really exploded from Aadhaar to UPI to Jandhan to DBTs and whatnot. You've all seen how much of UPIs eclipsed debit cards and credit card transactions, right? And that's just one portion, digitizing or digitization that's happening in the world. The same is true for cloud adoption use cases by industries. So what it means is that they have some challenges, some bottlenecks, some impediments. I thought it would be good to put them in front of you. And what we gathered were 5 key things. People said that optimizing for AI and ML-driven workloads on obsolete infrastructure is very challenging. It's very difficult. Redefining legacy applications and modernizing them is difficult. Containerizing applications and running those workloads in an agile manner is difficult. We talk about a rapid adoption of cloud, but getting to a hybrid cloud management system where we could enjoy the best of many worlds in the most cost-optimized manner is still very difficult. What I would request all of you to do is, and I hope the time that we have planned for you is a lot much more informative and useful for you, that you ask questions. But as you see these things and ask questions, let's build this partnership so that the technology used today changes business tomorrow, and we could all grow and thrive. With this, I would love to welcome you all, and I hope you have a great time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for setting the context for today. Thank you very much. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that all of us are ready for the next generation of storage, one that is software-driven and can power innovation today and tomorrow. Are we ready for this? Are we ready for this? Are we really ready for this? A little louder, everyone. Are we ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are all set to discover the hashtag, the next in storage, and leading us into the future is the man who's already in it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Manish Gupta, Vice President and General Manager, Infrastructure Solutions Group, Dell Technologies, India.
Hello there, and welcome to the Dellverse. How is everyone doing on the other side of the screen? I'm super thrilled and excited to be here with you for a most exciting launch of the Dell Technologies storage portfolio. Are you ready to power your future? You need to say it a little louder so I can hear you in the virtual world. Just kidding. What a beautiful day it is, ain't it? In both worlds, by the way. Truly the perfect setting for us to launch the future of storage. And for the first time ever, Dell Technologies will be launching it in both the virtual as well as the real world. The future of storage is software driven. We all know that. And we at Dell Technologies are ready. With the exponential growth of data, hybrid cloud adoption, and constant cyber threats, it's never been more important for enterprise storage to not only keep up, but keep your business ahead. It is now time to unlock software-driven storage innovation and find out what's next in storage. And let me tell you more about this by crossing this little virtual bridge. That's right. This has been quite extraordinary, but now I'm ready to return to a brilliantly amazing real world. Let me leave the screen and meet you back on stage. I should tell you something. By the way, coming from a virtual world to physical world has been infinitely easier as compared to having gone into the virtual world 2 years back. By the way, the reason our virtual world continued to run in pretty much the same manner as the physical world used to be was only because of all of us, all of you technologists, who made the world work without beating a heartbeat. So first and foremost, give yourselves a big round of applause to let the world continue as is over the last 2 years. We have discussed, and all of you are aware of this. None of these data points should come as a surprise. Through the surveys that we have done across the entire globe, we have seen an overwhelming number of customers who have been attacked by cyber attack just over the last 12 months. There are a good 63% of such customers. There are about 80%, 79% to be more precise, customers who want to modernize so that they can start going and taking the advantage of multi-cloud. And a lot of other customers, 89% to be precise, who really want automation to come in so that they can run their businesses with limited risks. All of these are intents. Some of these are risks. It's both of them together. The reality is, while this intent is there, and this intent is across the board, there are a lot of challenges to make that happen. There are a lot of headwinds that each one of you is facing. When you talk about cyber resiliency, we have got something, or rather, let me put it differently. There are 3 key pillars to cyber resiliency, or any security. First is, try and protect as much as you can. But in the event there is a hack that happens, organizations need to be able to detect, and once detected, the third one is really to recover immediately or as fast as you can without having to compromise on the data that's been hacked into, right? So that's a pretty much fundamental. And around that particular thought process, we have really brought in some new innovations, for example, with AirCap, that provides data isolation as well as immutability. So in the event there's something that happens, you've got the ability to recover. We are not just stopping on the recover part. Remember, we are bringing security right at the core of the infrastructure rather than keeping it only at periphery. The traditional thought process around security has been really firewalls, or just look at the periphery, but the attacks are now happening at the core. So how do you do that? You bring in hardware root of trust, you bring in secure access, you do all of those things. So that's really what we are bringing in as an example on a couple of things that we are doing on cyber resiliency. Let me see, while I am so excited about this launch, what do you think about it? And just to get your feedback here, so that we also know how we are standing on our commitments, can I just ask you to possibly scan this QR code? Listen, it's not going to take too long. Just want to get some real feedback right here in the room. If you could just scan this QR code, we have got a couple of options of what is it that you need from the storage ecosystem that you want for future. And just click on the option and swipe it up. All of your responses will get collated here, and we should be able to immediately see what is it that you are demanding. We should get some real feedback as we are talking to you.
You can probably take out your device now, turn on the mobile data in case you have turned it off, scan the QR code, and just swipe up the feature that you think should be inculcated, should be introduced, and we'll get the results live, the live results in a while on the screen.
Just a click and swipe up. As simple as that.
Are we done? Okay, so I think now we are ready to see what the responses are.
Cool. Awesome. Listen, let's just take a look at this. So, processor increased, faster processor, performance. Let's club this under performance. Affordability, I'm not surprised with this at all. I expected this to be there. Reduced complexity, simpler configuration, quite a few of those. Let's just club that into one thing, simpler configuration or simplicity, let's say. Okay, there's scalability, there is built for multi-cloud. I'm really hoping that over the next couple of minutes as we talk to you, we are able to demonstrate through all, if not most, of these asks. And I'm fairly confident that we will be able to articulate what we are really bringing on table. As we do this, why don't we get our heroes on the stage? Why don't we get our champions on the stage and really unveil what we are bringing in? Can we have the video here, please? By the way, the reason I call these heroes and champions is because they are a part of what we are bringing in. This is not the entire story. But more importantly, you've got to remember, what we are bringing in is stuff that makes this bigger and larger. In fact, at a point in time, we were wondering whether we should have the real products out here. But then we said, it's bigger than life. Let's make it bigger in the virtual world than life is. And to take you through more of that and give you a little more insights into what exactly are we talking, let me call on stage my colleague, Srini Rao, who's the Senior Director for Pre-Sales for Dell Technologies India. Srini, welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, before I begin my session, I would like to thank all of you for taking time to attend this very, very important announcements on the next generation storage platform, which will meet the kind of challenges which has been highlighted by Sudeep in the beginning of the session. So what I'm going to do is for next maybe 15 minutes, I know I can't cover all the 200 features or 500 kind of features which Manish was talking about as the innovations in the next 15 minutes. But what I've done is I picked up a few of the important and key features which we have innovated in our next generation mission critical PowerMax storage platform and even on the mid-range storage platform as well. By the way, while we did all these hardware enhancements, all these things has been achieved by achieving a response time of less than 100 microseconds. Yeah, you might have seen people talking about less than 1 millisecond response time for your business applications and all those things. We are able to achieve less than 100 microseconds for your business applications. You can imagine the kind of improvement what you can see in your application performance by implementing this kind of the next generation PowerMax storage platform. Moving on, I just want to quickly touch base on some of the key software innovations what we have done on the storage platform. Moving on, along with the software innovation in the architecture, what we also done is something called as Flexi RAID architecture. I think people who have worked on the storage industry understands the storage comes with in the form of RAID groups, right? I mean, we talk about RAID 5, RAID 6, I mean, sometimes we talk about RAID 1.0 as well. When you have to really scale to next kind of capacity, I mean, all OEMs come back and say that, oh, you need to procure minimum of 1 RAID group, which is of 8 drives or maybe 16 drives based on the capacity requirement. With the density of the disk drives going very high, where we're talking about 15 terabyte and 30 terabytes of NVMe drives as we speak, you really don't have to, with the Flexi RAID architecture, you really don't have to go and upgrade with a minimum of RAID group for increasing the storage capacity. You have a flexibility of adding only 1 disk drive into these existing RAID groups without compromising the RAS availability features in the storage platform. That's the kind of innovation what we have done in using the Flexi RAID architecture. Sudeep has alluded one point in this session talking about aging infrastructure. That has been one of the biggest concern for all the CIOs today, because when they have to move to the next generation applications, the aging compute and storage infrastructure has becoming a big, big limiting factor there. Today, with our next generation PowerMax storage platform, the tech refreshes can be in history. What it means is today we have built in software innovation in this platform where you can swap the existing controllers and bring in the next generation controllers into the storage platform without having any downtime to your front-end business applications. That is very, very crucial, because going forward, believe me or not, I mean, getting downtime and a planned downtime is also becoming very, very tough. Today, we have adopted the software innovation which will allow you to swap the existing controllers with the next generation controllers. I know this is only very, very small portion of innovations which I spoke here. But I would encourage you to, if you want to have a detailed discussion about this next generation PowerMax platform, reach out to your contacts in Dell Technologies, where we'll spend enough time to talk about all the kind of innovation that has been done in this platform. Just to quickly summarize in terms of what we are really achieving in this next generation PowerMax platform is specifically on the higher dense storage capacity, where you're able to achieve 18 petabytes in just 2 rack spaces. And Manish will talk about the flexible options and flexible consumption as well. But this is a complete modular storage platform which will help you to meet all your Tier 2 and Tier 3 kind of applications in your environment. I know this has been very, very short in terms of covering all the software features, but if you are interested, I mean, reach out to your Dell Technologies contacts to understand more in detail. With that, let me invite my colleague Sandeep Datta, who will take us through some of the innovations that has been done in the PowerFlex software-defined storage infrastructure. Sandeep Datta heads our sales for the entire SPS team in Dell Technologies. Sandeep, Olivers.
Thank you, Srini. Thank you, Manish. It's my pleasure to be here and talk about something which is slightly different. I want to talk about a platform which we call Power Flex, and the Flex word, along with the power, actually stands for flexibility. And within the next 5-10 minutes that I'm going to talk to you about, I want to introduce to you why this is a system which is considered to be very, very flexible. So when I talk about this system, the first thing which comes to my mind is this system gives you massive amount of consolidation while offering you the flexibility, the performance, the scalability, and the fluidity that we have been talking about. So if you look at here, in earlier days, we used to have disparate, different systems running all these kind of workloads. So we had a different system which we would deploy for running, say, for example, our Oracle databases. We would take a different set of applications to run our HCI and CI kind of requirements. We would have something very different, which is delivering you very, very high performance on storage. And we would have different management systems and often different networks to kind of manage this whole thing. Now think about it this way, that now you can have all of this in one single foundation, in one single platform, without compromising on performance. In fact, this foundation or this system can deliver performances which you have never heard of. If you look at some of the very large social media houses in the world today, they have deployed thousands of these nodes to give them the flexibility, the scalability, and the consistent performance that they have always wanted. And by doing this, it also gives you the agility that you're always looking for. Okay, so in the given amount of time, we thought we'll give you a very quick peek of what this thing can do, and we would really love to have a separate conversation, a detailed deep dive conversation on these things with you. Please reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to come back and do that. And with that, I would like to invite Manish back on the stage. Manish.
Thanks, Sandeep. And listen, folks, what we have discussed is only 20 to 30 software innovations. We are going to take you through another 480 in the next 5 hours. So just be prepared for that. Jokes apart, listen, there is a lot more. What we have so far spoken is really speeds and feeds and some feature sets. It's just tip of the iceberg. But there's a lot of other innovation that we are doing. There are a lot of other ways that we are looking at engaging with you to make your life simpler and to be able to give you the best products, but equally the best way to consume those products. What you see on the chart here is our Apex custom solution, which provides you the elasticity of consumption through a pay-per-use model. As customers, you can decide what's the baseline that you want to go with, what kind of services that you want to go with, which products do you want to go with through the entire infrastructure solutions group, and how do you want to pay for that, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis. So you are not just moving CAPEX to OPEX, but you're bringing in an amazing amount of elasticity as you do that. We, at this point, also have the broadest portfolio that's already available on the major hyperscalers. Remember and imagine how this is going to change the world for all of us. What this really allows you to do is move applications from on-prem to public cloud without having to refactor the applications or without having to reskill your developers. The other way you can go use the same thing is by doing cloud burst. Like we spoke earlier, you're running out of resources here, go cloud burst onto a public cloud. So those are a bunch of things that we wanted to discuss with you. And let me try and bring all of this together back to where we started. 3 key pillars: adaptable software architecture, cyber resiliency, and control over multi-cloud. What we discussed with you is a bunch of offerings, a bunch of innovations, a bunch of products, but equally ways for you to consume and our commitment to be a truly give you the control in the multi-cloud world while keeping all of this as secure as one can. That is the commitment that we are bringing on table. And I just don't want to stop at this by saying, listen, this is only a storage conversation. I think the biggest thing that we as an organization bring is a plethora of offerings that go right from the edge to core to cloud. And when I talk about edge, I'm not just talking about edge compute. I'm also talking about edge clients. We have got the best laptops and desktops and workstations. But equally, the gateways on the edge, we have the edge computing devices going into the data center with the right network products, with the right compute, and again, all of what we are bringing with the capabilities around multi-cloud and cloud in particular. With this, let me come to a close on the presentation. But before we really call it curtains on this particular discussion, I would want to invite Sandeep and Srini back again on the stage and open this up for Q&As. And listen, the Q&A, you can even have comments, right? But really want to hear from you. What do you think about this? What is it that you think is missing, or what is it that we can really bring on table over and beyond? Please, can we have the mic here?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, so myself, Vishwajit Sharma from CubeLogic. So I was very happy to see, people put the request for their requirement, but there was no security in that, which you have looked at. And 2 years back when we were, knowing about that ransomware attack is going on, and at that time, I used to think, that how can it be secure at the hard drive level,
Yeah.
the storage level. So we have different layer that can act as another control, but we can, get a kind of at the physical layer, and we can secure. So that was really good to hear. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. And in fact, it's exactly 3 years back, if my memory serves me right. Pandemic has made all of the little wonky on timelines, but that's where we introduced something that we call a secure root of trust as a part of the hardware. And this secure root of trust is actually immutable. So you cannot have, because of the immutability, that cannot be hacked, and it's all verified and validated by us. Going back to the firmware, going back to BIOS, and along with that come a bunch of features like secure access, et cetera, et cetera. And we can talk more about this, but completely agree. In fact, very often we as technologists have overlooked the fact that you've got to secure infrastructure at core. Life is not only about firewalls. Attacks are happening at every single layer. So glad to hear this.
And likewise, very recently I was talking to a chief security officer in one of our customers, and he apart from what Manish just mentioned, he also said that, look, security is not only a CISO concern, right? It is a responsibility of everybody in the organization, right? So, and I was very delighted when he said that, because, and then he alluded upon that, every layer of the network and the infrastructure should also have its own security, so we can kill it where we find it. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi. So what time frame we are expecting the line card to be live replacement for the NVMe drives?
Okay. Honestly, let me take this question. Right now, we are talking about NVMe as a disk technology, which is the fastest and the reliable media which is available as we speak now. Yeah, people are talking about the SCM technology. I think that's also is coming in place.
Already SCM is there.
Yeah, SCM is available and it's there, but that is again still restricted to very, because of the scale at which it's been consumed by the applications right now, that is very restricted in terms of the, at the volume level. But as and when the technology matures and the new next generation media comes in, I think there will be again more and more innovation that will be coming to software. As we speak, we don't have the timelines, but that software will be incorporated as a part of our storage infrastructure itself, which will allow you to non-disruptively migrate the data from the NVMe architecture to the next generation media as well, without impacting your business applications. That's there in the vision. Right now, we don't have the time for that.
Yeah. My question is, like, you have come out with a very good hardware and software stack, which covers our hyperscalers and the solution from Dell. But I was also told that the best of one of the hyperscalers is Nutanix. But Dell has stopped actually providing solutions with Nutanix. Any specific reason that is that you only want to promote your hyperscalers, that you don't want to go ahead with deployment of Nutanix on your service?
All right, so let me first and foremost say this, that as an organization, one of the things that we have always believed in is democratization of technology. And we adhere to that, and we continue to build on that. In fact, okay, so the hyperscaler examples that we had here were really the AWSs and the GCPs and Azures. But from a technology around hyperconverged, Nutanix is a technology around which we have solutions as much as we have on other platforms. So we have got a platform that is called XC Core. It's a PowerEdge XC Core, which is tuned specifically for Nutanix. So we have got the BIOS that's tuned to run Nutanix. We have got all the services around it. I would like to correct this perception in this room that we are very happy to service any Nutanix infrastructure requirements that anybody here would have.
In fact, we're very happy that you brought it up, because unless you tell me, we don't have that feedback. So thank you very much for that feedback. Yeah. And like Manish said, we have things around XC Core, which is tuned for Nutanix. Similarly, we have purpose-built appliances, like we have our VxRail for VMware. We have purpose-built appliances for other platforms like Microsoft Azure. So if you are on an Azure platform and you want to have the Azure Stack HCI in your premises, we have purpose-built solutions for that as well. But thank you again for your feedback.
Actually, that's a fantastic point, and let me also extend this a little further. As an organization, it depends on how much time to market you have when you're bringing in a new technology, for example, right? From the approach that we bring to the market is saying, listen, there is a do-it-yourself model, where given the depth of skills that you might have, you would say, listen, I want infrastructure, which I will, and I will take software separate, I'll take applications separate, and build the entire stack on my own. Now, the time to market in that world is fairly high. What we are bringing, for example, with the Azure Stack, the on-prem Azure Stack, or with VxRail, or with XC Core, likewise, we have got a lot of ready solutions which are already pre-validated. For example, on Red Hat for cloud, right, for private cloud, right? So we have a bunch of those solutions that you can just bring in that come with pre-validated configurations, and you have the entire blueprint on how that needs to deploy. So it gives you a very, very quick time to market.
Just one check on that ransomware thing. Are you saying whatever is behind this device, 100% ransom proof?
Again, I never said that, and let me just clarify this. Listen, protect, detect, recover, right? What we are doing, and one of the great examples that Srini gave is, one of the modern architectures that we are bringing in is providing the operational air gap to ensure data isolation and immutability. The reality of our world is hacks will happen. You've got to do everything possible to protect, but in the event there's an attack, there should be very quick detection and then recovery, right? So a lot of these modern architectures, for example, air gap we spoke about the fact that at the core we are bringing hardware root of trust. The fact that we are keeping the entire complexity of security fairly simple are things that add up to make the world more secure than it's ever possibly been, right? Yeah. How many? Okay, so the question is, how many controllers can we replace at a time?
I mean, generally, when you do a data in place upgrade, you tend to do one at a time, but one at a time. These are all high-performance controllers, right? You need to ensure that the kind of load which is being addressed by the controller will be taken over by the other controller as well. But generally, while we can do multiple controllers at any given point in time, but it's recommended to do one at a time. Since we talk about 16 controller scalability, yeah, it is recommended to do one at a time. That is where the symmetric active controllers comes into picture, which balances the load across all the controllers.
I was expecting that, like, you have a symmetric logical, right? It goes to, because you have 16 controllers in active.
Yes.
So only one?
No, you can do more than one, but as a best practices, what we recommend is looking at the workload that has been running on the controllers. See, please understand that, okay, not every system has all the entire full-blown system actually configured in the system. Some might decide to go with only 2-node system. Some might decide to go with a 4-node system. So based on the configuration, we recommend to go one at a time.
What is validated? Like maximum, how many we can
Right now, I don't have an answer, but I will come back to you on this. Yeah.
Awesome. Any other comments, questions?
Hi. Just a little bit of tangential question. I mean, I know we are talking about appliances and on-prem stuff, but given that large amount of workloads we typically run on hyperscalers, talking about public cloud platforms. So how do you envision, while you talked about Project Alpine, but how do you really envision these sort of solutions kicking in, seamlessly with the workloads that are running on public cloud platforms? For example, you talked about partnership with Snowflake. So what I'm trying to understand is, let's say Snowflake provides the data warehousing capabilities, and that kind of comes on-prem. When you're storing data on-prem, you can power that with Snowflake and run a data warehouse on-prem. But how do you seamlessly work with public cloud platforms, data movements? I was looking for more information on that.
Yeah, we can definitely have an offline discussion on this, but let me give you a gist about Snowflake part. As you rightly said, Snowflake is nothing but a data warehousing and the analytics company, which does at the cloud level actually. With that partnership, what we have announced is, you not only have the flexibility to work at the public cloud providers, you have a flexibility to work with our unstructured data solutions, which will be our object storage, and going forward, we will have the PowerScale also integrated, which can fetch the data and create a data warehouse across the private and the public clouds. That's one key takeaway. And the second key takeaway is they also do, with the access of the private cloud data as well, they can do data analytics and then provide you the business outcome which is required for the organization. That's with the Snowflake, when it comes to Snowflake part. When it comes to the Project Alpine, which Manish has alluded in terms of bringing the block, file, object, and data protection on these things, we have a similar kind of experience that is being provided in the on-prem environment today, running on the public clouds as well, which has interoperability to bring in the data at any place based on the business requirement. Can I have a cloud bursting right now at this point in time, which can parallelly work on that? Maybe not at this stage, but that might be a kind of future roadmap has been built on that. But today, what we're trying to say is, what our functionality which you have been getting in the on-prem premises, we're trying to put it all in the public cloud there as a software.
Excellent. Can we now move on to the 480 remaining software innovations? Right.
Are you talking 480 new charts, Manish?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, thank you so much. I think this has been a great conversation. I know there's a lot more that you would want to hear. This is still just touching the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, one of the things that we bring on table more than products is actually skills. Given the experience that we have across countries, across verticals, across products, across any sort of cuts and slices that you would want to look at. So please do engage with us, all of us. A lot of our leadership is in the room. We will love to interact with you tonight, but equally, going forward, please do reach out to us, and we will continue to do the same to ensure that we are bringing the best and the brightest on your table. Thank you so much for giving us such a good hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much once again for such an informative session out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm definitely powered up. And if you're also powered up looking at this launch, everyone, why don't we all put our hands together and let's welcome PowerStore, PowerMax, and PowerFlex to this fantastic family of Dell Technologies. A little louder, please. Come on, everybody. If you are just blown away, if you're just amazed by what you've just witnessed, give it a thundering round of applause, everyone. So with this, we have come to an end of this evening. I hope that the event was fructuous for all of you, and you enjoyed every bit of it as much as we did presenting it to you. And before I sign off, I would once again like to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules for joining us here today. And thank you very much once again for joining us. And you have a great evening ahead. Goodbye. Namaskar. Goodbye. Have a good time.